Hi, Hype students and parents. Pastor Kent here with another Hype weekly update. Students, if you were unable to join us Sunday night, we finished our series, Identity Crisis, as we explored the false identity of status and possessions. We had a great guest speaker who is Lydia Benedict. She's a great friend of Amber's, and she spoke on this false identity, and she read from Luke 12, the parable of the rich fool. In this parable, I just want to give a quick recap of what this parable is about. Jesus is addressing a group of people, and he gives them this warning. He says, "Watch out, be on guard against all greed, because one's life is not in the abundance of his possessions." He then proceeds and tells this parable of this man who had an abundant harvest, and instead of just keeping a little bit for himself to get through and then sharing his wealth with others, he tore down his smaller grain bins, built new bigger ones, and stored it all for himself. He was trying to find his security, his hope, in his possessions. At the end of the parable, God warns this rich man and calls him a fool, and he says, "You fool, this very night your life is demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be?" And then Jesus closes out the parable with this verse in chapter 12, verse 21. "That's how it is will be the one who stores up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God." And so basically he's saying, you store up treasures in heaven, serve others, love God, and love others well, instead of just caring about yourself. To illustrate this and to close the night, last Sunday night, I gave two quotes to kind of help make this more clear. The first quote was this: "It is said that the man with the most toys wins," or the man with the most money, or the most possessions, or the highest status, he wins. And in the end, the man who has the most whatever, toys, money, possessions, he still dies. The second quote that I said to use alongside of the last quote was, "If who you are is what you have, and what you have is lost, then who are you?" To kind of combine those two quotes in this story together, we see this truth. If we put our identity and our hope in what we have, and if it is possessions or status, and when we die we can't take those with us, we are nothing. When we see God and meet him after we die, we're nothing. As opposed to if we have our identity in Jesus, who is eternal, and if we have that relationship with him, and when we die, we can take that, because that is spiritual, that's something that is everlasting, it's eternal. And when we see God face to face, he sees Jesus in you and declares you perfect and allows you to have a relationship with him for eternity in heaven. So that's the truth that I really wanted students to understand from our lesson last Sunday night is, if you put something in your identity in something that's materialistic or earthly, some possessions or status, it will fail you in the end, because you can't take that with you. Only Jesus. You can only take your identity in Jesus with you after you die. Some announcements that we talked about that are things that are coming up. So this is for parents and students to be aware of. On Wednesday night, we will be starting our community group for high school students. We'll be joining the How to Grow class that Crosspoint is putting on. We'll have our own hype table. I'll be there leading discussions. So any high school students who are interested, please come. If you haven't signed up already, please come and we'll get you signed up. We'll get you a book. Our second announcement is that there is no hype this upcoming Sunday. We have a hype leadership meeting, so we cancel hype that night because the meetings are at the same time, so we can discuss and plan and serve students well in the upcoming future. But because we don't have a hype lesson or programming on Sunday night, that means we'll have a Wandering Wednesday on September 16th. For this Wandering Wednesday, we will be having a bonfire outside, we will be having some yard games, and we'll have an outdoor movie. So please come, join us. And if you're in a high school community group, we won't be attending that Wednesday night of How to Grow. We'll be doing the Wandering Wednesday instead outside. So if you are able, please come, invite friends. It should be a fun evening of food, fellowship, and some fun games, and I hope to see you there. I hope you have a great rest of your week in the Lord. I love you, and may God bless you as you go out and love God and love others well. See ya.